This is Berchtesgaden in southern Germany. This is the main square. I say it's one of the main squares. That's my idea of the main square. We've got the tourist office on the right, the hotel over there. This is the old cemetery, and with graves going back quite a long way. And there's a number of people who are quite well known here. Such as Hans Lammers, you can see that in another film. We've got here on the left Dietrich Eckart, which to me was quite a shock because he's one of the founders of the Nazi Party, an awful anti-Semite, a German nationalist, but one that couldn't be bothered to fight for Germany in the First World War. But what I really want to do is to show you some of the memorials to people who did fight in the war, people who were forced to fight for something, for the likes of Eckart, who couldn't be bothered. And let's have a look. I was very fortunate that a gentleman who actually restored many of these graves showed me around this morning. And so what I'm now going to do is to show you some of the things, some of his work, and start off here with this memorial, it's been recently renovated, and renovated to such an extent that we can now see the faces of the people who were killed in 2 world wars, who were also the victims of those wars, and we also get an idea of when they were killed. Now I'm just going to pick 1 or 2 at random, so where they actually did die, but there's an unusual one there, Finland. Okay, somebody died in Berchtesgaden, so that would mean that he was wounded, and I presume he came back home and where he died. But Flanders, Calais, POW, the Vogue, Arras, this one here was killed in the UK, obviously. So he died in the UK, I presume he was a POW. Many POWs, they're wounded, and by the time they get to the camp they're going to, they die of their wound. It's quite, that's why you often see people who died after the war, but they are war victims all the same. There are Italy, a lot of German troops were in Italy. They went there to take part in the Battle of Caporetto, which was in October 1917, and then they advanced from there. Now we've got other dates as well up here, which are from the Second World War, so we can see that. For example here, Romania in August 1944, and 43 in Russia. I presume this gentleman totally disappeared. And now here we have an unusual one, which 9th of August 1942 in the Ardennes. I'm unable to explain that one because there was fighting in the Ardennes. There was 2 big battles of the Ardennes, German breakthrough of 1940 and the Battle of the Bulge in 1944. So how he got killed in 1942 in the Ardennes, I don't know. And we have other things as well. For example here, this gentleman here was killed 30th of September 1943 in the Caucasus. Well, by then of course German forces had been thrown out of the Caucasus completely. I presume that he died in a POW camp. Here's another one, 5th of March 1943. This could have been in the retreat from the Caucasus on the Taman Peninsula or something of that nature. This one here we have 20th of April 1945 in Berlin. So it's the day, Hitler's birthday, the day that Berlin came under artillery attack, so just before it was surrounded. This gentleman here, 31st of August 1942 in Stalingrad. So he was killed at the very beginning of the Stalingrad battle, and in some ways that was probably fortunate, so he didn't have to go through it and have a much slower death as it would have been the case. Now, as we walk up, we can see there's other memorials to the war, many of which have been redone. You can see here, for example, how that has been redone. It's quite clear to read. And he died 20th of September 1941. He was aged 52. So he was at the front fighting, but Hitler, he couldn't be bothered to fight. So there we are. This gefallen im Osten. So he died on the Eastern Front, 14th of January 1944. Now, I mentioned here Eckart. Now, somebody seems to have tipped a can of paint over his grave or something of that nature. Now, his grave, though, is very well maintained. He's got these two trees, and there's some woman in Munich who actually pays for the upkeep of that, which is unfortunate. You can see how well these photographs though have been done, and okay, this 28th of March 1918, the photographs have been renovated and they look brand new in many ways. Now you see all these names for a place that's really this wall, and it's not just those on the wall, but some of them inside as well are victims of the war. Now, I mentioned the word victims, but not everybody. Well, so this man here died, but he was probably, I suspect he was a Nazi. There's his name, Jakob Deinwaldner. He was killed in Italy on the 8th of January 1945. How did this happen? Was this: he went to Italy in order to bring back a deserter to Germany. Now, the deserter himself, who was under arrest, managed to get a hold of his gun, his pistol, and he shot him. And I think he managed to escape. So, okay, it's always difficult to know. Do you put the likes of characters like this alongside here? We've got Michael Eder. Of course, I know nothing about Michael. 20 years old, and he was killed on the 19th of April 1945 near to Berlin. And so, what I suspect an innocent victim, because he was even too young to have even voted for the Nazis. I mean, when Hitler came to power, he was what, 7, 8 years old, so that gives an idea. Right, so whilst I'm here, I'll just point this out here. So you've got the Kelstein, which is the Eagle's Nest, is up there, and Obersalzberg, which was the surrogate capital of Nazi Germany, was on the side of this mountain up there. So it's somewhere in that area. That's where Hitler, he came here on holiday, first time in 1923, he liked it, he came back, he rented a place in the 20s, and when he became dictator, he actually bought the place where he'd been renting, and that later became the Berghof, the mountain court, as it would be in Germany. So, in Germany, we have a view of the cemetery on today, and this is really a very interesting place to be, Berchtesgaden. You've got the National Park nearby, you've got people like myself interested in the Second World War, that's nearby. You've got history in the form of, you've got the salt mine, you've got the Royal Castle. There's lots to see and lots to do, and I've just been here for 6 days, and I've got to say, I think this is my favourite place in Germany. Anyway, so please see my other films from this area, and please subscribe.